Okay, 1.1.3. So as soon as you see the cert, there's really certain things that should be going off in your mind. Um, One, when you do have a cert, the first thing that you want to do is to isolate the cert. They gave it easy enough for us in this one as the cert is already isolated. But generally, the first thing that you want to do is to isolate your cert. So that's great. It's already done for us. The next thing that we are going to do is to get rid of our root. Let's maybe just chat about some things quickly before that. If you have the cert over here, we know that by principle, this is a positive value. Okay, if it was a negative, there would have been a negative in front of our sign, our third, like that. But there's not a negative; it's a positive. What does that mean for me? For me, that means this number over here, whatever this is, has to be positive. For example, if okay, this is just some a random third. Let's say I've got x plus 1 here, and this is equal to -3. So as we said, the third, this thing over here, by principle, there's a positive in front of it. This is a positive third. It cannot equal to a negative value. So if you do have your third equal to a negative, there is no solution. So if you had something like this, then you will say no solution. Okay, yeah, you write all of that out there. That's not what we have here, but just something for us to remember that when you do have your third, if it's positive as this one is, it has to equal to a positive value. Okay, back to our actual question. We have already isolated the third. They've done that for us. To isolate means to have the third alone on one side. The next thing that we do is to get rid of the square root. And in order to get rid of the square root, we are going to square. And we know we have to do that on both sides. So we'll square both sides. Our left-hand side becomes 2x plus 1. Our right-hand side, we have a bracket squared there. So I'm going to do this in one step. If you want to know how we do it, you write the bracket out twice. So you go with x plus 1, x minus 1, x minus 1, and do the multiplications. I'm going to do that in one step. So I know I'll end up with x squared, right? And then my first one times my second one times 2, which is going to give me a minus 2x, and minus 1 times minus 1, which would be a positive 1. So we've squared both sides. So next what we want to do is to put it in standard form. Okay, so again, if you want some steps, the first step is to isolate your third. Second step is to square both sides. Third step is to put it in standard form. So everything on our left hand side over here, all of these, we need to get to the other side. So let's go ahead and do that. This will become a 0. That's a 0. 0 is equal to x squared minus 2x minus another 2x is going to give me minus 4x, and plus 1 minus 1, that's going to disappear. Okay, so my right hand side simplifies to x squared minus 4x. Once you have it in standard form, our next step will be to factorize. So over there we can see that we have a common factor of x. We'll take that out, and inside our bracket we will have x minus 4. We know that when we take out the common factor, we are dividing each term with our factor. So to get the x inside our bracket, we divided the x squared by our x, and to get our minus 4 inside our bracket, we divided the minus 4x with our common factor of x. Again, these are both equated to 0, and because it's equated to 0, we will have our two solutions where x is equal to 0, or x is equal to positive 4. Right, great. Now, again, remember we are dealing with a third. And when you're dealing with a third, you know you have to test your solutions, right? So if we go put our 0 and our 4 into our original equation, the original question which was over there, will the left hand side still equal to the right hand side? So let's try that. Um, let's try that. So it's going to give us square root 2 times 0 plus 1 is equal to is equal to 0 minus 1. Let's check if this is true. 2 times 0 is 0, plus 1, it's 1. So if you have the square root of 1, square root of 1 is still 1. Left hand side is equal to 1. Right hand side is 0 minus 1, which is minus 1. So our right hand side equates to positive 1. Our left hand side equates to negative 1. Positive 1 is not equal to negative 1. So that tells us, let's get rid of all of those things. That tells us that the x equals 0 is not a solution, right? We tested it and our left hand side was not equal to our right hand side. We can go test the 4. So we'll put 4 into our root above and we'll have 2 times 4, which is 8. 8 plus 1 is 9. So on my left hand side I have a square root of 9. We know that's going to be 3. On the right hand side we have 4 minus 1, which is also 3. So that's true. So this tells us that x equals positive 4 is our only solution.